And so that is the idea. So this some 8 or 10 examples I will show today. So that will give you a good idea, and maybe also next week I will send pointers which you can look at it. So that will start the base of like keep your mind thinking, oh, these are the possibilities, this way we can do attack, etc. This way we can do. Okay, so that is what is the theme today. Okay, so we'll start. So attacking the king, and the first example we'll look at is with related to the back rank weaknesses, right? Back rank weaknesses forms a lot of basis for many different types of tactics or even attacks, successful attacks, because you attack, and if there is a weak back rank, then you force the opponent to give up something, and then after that you may not checkmate him, not necessarily, but then he would have given up. Let us say if he had to give up a piece to avoid a checkmate, then it becomes a matter of routine technique after that to win, right? And I'm sure all of you now hopefully can win with an extra piece. But at the same time, I want to caution that when you are playing, let us say in the arena, and one of you loses a piece, it is not the thing that you should resign. Okay, you should never resign. You should play through it, because all of us make blunders, and it is quite possible that your opponent may blunder, and even if the opponent doesn't blunder, it is still a technique that you have to perfect of how to win with an extra material. So it will not be perfected if one person resigns, then basically both of you have lost the chance to play through it. Okay, so please keep in mind. So while I tell this that okay, you might win a tactic, you might win a piece, and it's a one game. It's a one game, but still it has to be played and won. And at this level, never resign any game. Never resign any game. Always play it to the end. Okay. Maybe you can resign if the only lone king is left. Okay, but otherwise you can always still get a stalemate, etc. So because I have noticed that some people are resigning prematurely, I feel, and being a piece down is certainly not a thing for level 3 people to resign. Okay, it's not a grandmaster game. So please keep that in mind. Okay, let us look at it. There is a game. I will not go through the opening phases of the game, but essentially this is the stage at which oops, what happened? Oops. Something has gone wrong. Okay, attack on this one. Okay, let us go somewhere here, right? But we'll check it out from a position where after this. So white is building up his attack, but we will look at a key tactic. So black castles, and at this point of time now, white. Let us spend a minute to just understand. You will probably notice, and you will get a sense that probably white is attacking and white is slightly better, but it is an equal position as of now, right? It is an equal position. And how do you continue? So you will notice one thing, that it is white to play right now, and black's rooks are still not connected. Just now he has castled, and one more move, and then probably bishop will come to d7 given a choice. Then it will be quite okay for black. If it is not white's turn and if it is black's turn to play, black will be very happy to play either bishop to g4 or to bishop to d7 and complete his development. Then the two rooks will be connected, and after that, even if white doubles up with the rooks on the d file, black will also be able to post his other rook onto the d file, right? So it is almost there, but it is not yet there, and white is to move. So let us see how white proceeds. Let us look at the idea. It is not that thing. There are probably better defenses, but please look at the idea of how white is going about it. Okay, so white eliminates the knight first, and the knight was also covering the d8 square. So white is planning to double his rooks now after this, right? So he wants to get benefit of the of his control of the d file, and yet the black rooks are not yet connected. Okay, so this is the idea. Now black could do better, but black decides to attack the queen first. Okay, because black says, oh, there is an open file, and let me also, and let me attack the queen, but first. But sometimes these are very, very touch and go situations. Okay, so you have to be very, very. I mean, you have to be sensitive to what is the danger also in your position. So,
Sir,
yeah.
on move 16, instead of playing b takes c6, could white have played knight takes c6 but lost material?
Black could have lost an exchange, right? If knight takes c6. So bishop takes
Oh,
c6
wouldn't
here
that have been
because the
safer?
knight is pinned against the rook. So it again, it's a. So here, if you take it with the knight, then bishop will take the rook, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's a worth 2 points, right? And it is significant, right? Actually, these are all master games, right? Or reasonably strong players games. You can say expert or master. So in expert and master games, uh, if you go to an ending where one side has a rook and other side has bishop and maybe one pawn or whatever, 2 pawns each, it's an easy win for the guy with the rook. Now it is an easy win for the masters, okay, probably not yet for you. So again, that's why again I think that while that is why black does not take it with the knight, okay, but however, for you, I think you have to practice it, all of those things. So I'm going to suggest some unequal end games as for practice going forward in the next 2 or 3 weeks, where you can all practice, where theoretically won games. We say that, oh, this thing, this end game, it is very easily won, but still you have to play through, and it is not like a completely easily won. Not like you have rook and the other guy doesn't have anything, but you have a rook and he has a bishop, right? And still there is a decent fight, but there are techniques of doing it. So you have to master those techniques. Anyway, so that's a thing. So here black does uh, take this, and now white doubles up on the d file, okay, and black attacks the uh, black black attacks the queen, okay. uh, there is a momentary, there is a back rank weakness. There is a back rank weakness. So let us see how white exploits it. Let me just close this. It is getting irritating. Yeah, rook to d8. Rook to d8. What is the threat? That if black does not do anything, then rook takes f8 check, king to f8, and rook to d8 is checkmate. That is obviously the threat, right? That is the threat. So what are the possible moves? We'll see what happened first. We'll see. Black decided to kind of continue the attack on the queen while dealing with the threat, supposedly dealing with the threat on d8, because now if you take, right, if you take rook takes f8, it is no longer a threat of mate, right? But there is a very big thing. White simply took this rook, and now the threat is mate threat is again very real now. Mate threat is completely real now. And how do you save the
Knight to g6.
sorry?
Knight to g6.
Yeah, knight to g6, right? Knight to g6, and then this check first. Now, obviously, knight has to take it, and queen takes bishop. So look at it, how much material black has lost. So white is a whole rook up, right? White is a whole rook up, and plus there are mate threats. So this is one thing.
Wait, sir, if you go back a bit,
Actually,
there's
it is not. There is a bishop also on a3. So actually, it is a checkmate here. Not even white.
yeah,
White doesn't need
I
to,
was just about to
because
say.
after this one, actually, white can simply take this and it's a checkmate, right? So the bishop on a3 is a very deadly bishop actually here. So we have to realize the full potential of this one. So rook to, let us just go back and see what black could have done, if at all. So after this move, no other move actually works for a black. I mean, it is a thing, because even if you do something like this, so kind of block the attack on the b rook, right? And now you are saying that I don't have a threat on the thing. But even then, white simply takes this, because still the mate threat is still there, right? Because if you take the queen, then again it is a mate here, right? After this, so
Why didn't black take the rook?
Here.
Yeah, after queen takes bishop.
After, okay, you are saying in this variation, which one? Just the other variation that I was showing.
Bishop to b7 variation, yeah.
Okay, bishop to b7 variation, queen takes thing, and what do you say? If you take the
White rook, yeah.
if you take the white rook on d8,
yeah.
So then it is again white will exchange. Okay, let us just give me 1 second now. Which is the best move here? Bishop to b7. I think best will be this one. This is best. Forcing the and becoming simply one piece up, right? Because now what can black do? Black has to take this first, right? Now you pick up the bishop.
Yeah.
So queen crosses b7. Maybe I played it too early. I think this is the promote variation, and queen crosses variation. I think this is wrong, right? This is wrong, I think. So this bishop to b7, rook takes f8. Let's go back and see if there is any other. Any other defensive idea comes to mind? There are very little. This bishop has to move. Otherwise, anyway, there is a threat of mate only. So, and there is no easy way to block also on the d5, right? Because there is nothing else to think, and the pawn is there on e5, so you cannot block just like this also. Even if the knight were to move, there is a checkmate threat. So there is nothing really here, right? So it can happen. These kind of situations may come up. So I think you have to have an eye. Okay, and how to get this eye for these kind of things is actually going through many types of this type of example games, and also look at a lot of tactics. And that way your eye develops the possibilities for these things. Okay, shall we go on to the next one? Okay, next one is also a very nice example, and one move mistakes. How, I mean, the game is almost at an equal stage. There is some attack from white. Okay, there is some attack. Again, white has dominating the e file, but it is not that black is not having any resource. But there is one small mistake. Sometimes it happens, and then how the attack. So again, so mistakes do happen, but how we are looking at the ideas of how those can be exploited, or how the typical king side attack works. Okay, against the rook. Sorry, against the castle king. Okay. Okay, so so let us look at it. Knight has come to d6, and queen goes to b4. Can you see what is the idea of the queen to b4? Observe the position for a minute. And why the queen has come to b4?
To go to h4?
Absolutely. Queen to h4 is the threat, because the h file has opened, and there is a deadly threat, right? That there will be checkmate down it, and there is very little that you can do, right, for it. So, so black prepares, and so black wants to kick off the knight, right? And he sees a big opportunity right now. I mean, actually, white had to think through properly, okay? Because f6 does look like a threat, right? Pawn fork, right? And that is being prevented by the queen on b3. So right now the pawn cannot move, and white is there. But actually, when white plays queen to b4, you need to understand and see what can happen, because f6 is a very simple threat, right? And queen to h4 threat goes away with f6 idea, because f6 is going to threaten your knight. So you going to queen h4 doesn't help, because I'll take the knight, and then there is no mate, right? Oh, there is a triple pawn and all. It is ugly, but at least a piece is a piece, and then there is no threat, right? There is no threat. So so you have to look at, so queen b4, right? f6 black does take this opportunity and play, but now the 7th rank becomes very weak. See, already the E file is dominated by white, and now now that F7 moves to F6, right? See, earlier also white rook could have gone to E7, but then the pawn being there on F7, the castle position is still strong. But now that pawn has moved, now the castle, it is like the hinges of the castle door are removed. Okay, so the door is there, but the hinges are not there. So while one side might be locked, the other side you can open it up. Okay, so now,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah,
After f6,
yeah.
could white do queen b3 check?
Queen b3 check is okay. Rook will, no, not rook will not come. Queen b3 check, yeah, queen b3 check, king will go to h8 probably.
Okay, sir.
You cannot come to h3 because the queen, black will be very happy to exchange the
So
queen.
after that, can't the queen go to the h3 check, and then he can checkmate by going to h7?
Black will simply exchange the queens.
Oh, okay.
Even if you take it and this rook is gone here, right? So black is covering the h3 square, and that is the reason why the queen goes to b4 to come, but it cannot come to h3. I mean, h3 is locked, so that is the reason. Okay, so where were we? We were at, okay. So now white. Let us see how this. So this weakens the 7th rank, or black's 2nd rank. From white's perspective, it is the 7th rank. So queen comes to b4, sorry, b5, because black offers a queen exchange. He says that, why don't you? And see, the idea is black is not a duffer, huh? Because white queen, if it now cannot, still h4 threat is not there, because the queen is simultaneously attacking the queen as well as the knight. Okay, and the knight is further attacked by the pawn. So what is black is saying is, now queen h4 is no longer a threat, because I can take the knight on g5 with my queen, right? And then there is no attack, right? So that is what is black is thinking, but there is a tremendous blow. Rook takes g7 check. Yeah, it looks like a sacrifice of the rook, and it is temporarily, it is a sacrifice of the rook. Okay, but the whole thing is that the king's castle has got completely weakened, and momentary, just one move after that, black will be able to kind of put the thing in the attack. But right now that is not enough, so the army just rushes it in. The attacking army rushes it in. Rook e7. Okay, rook e7. Now if you go to king to g8, now queen h4 works, because there is a double met threat. Now on h7 it is defended by the rook on e7 as well as the knight. So even if queen takes knight, still queen h7 is made. Okay, so that is the, see, there is a big difference between the earlier, one more earlier and now. So now queen h4 is a big threat now. So king cannot go to really g8, right? So what to do? So black was forced to put the rook in between. Rook takes f7. Again, same threat is there. Again, king goes to g8, then queen h4 is the complete mate threat. So knight had to go back and collect the rook, and now obviously you can take the queen, because the knight was defending the queen, and the whole point that black had offered the queen exchange based on the knight being at d6, but now the d6 knight got diverted, and now this is a one end game. Obviously black will take this knight, but after this white should win. Now white should win. There are ways of winning again, but as I explained, if you are in a position and you are playing black, do try to go and defend it. Don't give it easily. But queen is too powerful. I guess you will also realize, because the pawns are also going to fall, and then you will be able to easily win this, because there is no easy way to now to save the rook as well as the pawns, etc. So this game is actually lost. I'm sure even you will be able to win this easily. But in general, I'm saying in such positions also, just don't take it lightly. But yeah, so this was the tactic, and this got enabled. The idea that is to remember is that if 7th rank becomes weak, it is not just a question of rook landing on the 7th rank, but also being able to attack all the way and just clear up this thing. So the pawn on f7 having moved to f6 was a very big decider in this tactic. Okay. So what is there in the chat? Okay, rook is yeah, fine. Okay. All right, so that is there. Okay, let us look at
Sir, could you go back like a few moves?
back. Okay, so yeah, so this was the after this position is when Queen B4 was played. Yeah.
No, like when he sacrifices the rook at g7.
Okay. Then rook e7, Queen B5, then rook G7.
What if king goes to h8?
Then it is a check. Not a it's a checkmate immediately. King H8, Queen H4.
Oh, okay.
You take it and then this is checkmate. Right? So you have no option other than taking it actually. Taking it, then the other rook comes in. And now again, if you go to G8, then Queen H4 is a sure shot mate. King H8 also obviously is immediately mates only. So rook F7 was forced. Rook F7 was forced. And then rook takes F7, knight takes F7 is effectively forced, and then the queen is lost. Okay. All right, fine. So we'll go to the next one. Next one, I think. Okay, I will put a link there. Yeah, we will look at this example. This example game again. Look at it. It is apparent that white has having advantage. Okay, white is having an white is having an advantage. White is attacking. White's rook on f7 has got nicely because the pawn has moved, and then attack is going to happen down the f file. So the rook is well placed. Rook is well placed, and the other rook has already lifted. Okay, other rook has already lifted to c3, so it is ready to switch over to the king side. So a lot of things are ready. So let us see how white goes about it. Okay, and again you will notice that the black's f6 knight is not there. So white is going to use his f pawn like a roller to break open the castle king position. So black also wants to counter attack. Obviously, black is not black doesn't want to play passively. He wants to do this, but at this point of time, rook is attacked, but white goes ahead and puts f6. This is like a dagger into the heart or whatever you call it, right? It's so now what do, right? Obviously, queen cannot take it. Pawn will be forced to take that pawn. G pawn will be, because queen is also attacked, right? And if you don't allow it, then f takes g will be deadly, right? So g takes f, practically forced, and now rook takes c6. Okay, so now f6 becomes a target of attack, complete attack, and no easy way to defend f6. Right. So black does go ahead first. He grabs the e3 pawn, gives a check, and says, and after this he says, okay, let me see what. I mean, I know black is saying f6 is under threat, but I have also got my bishop. So black is saying that I will attack on g2 and probably thing. And really, what he's saying is that something here like this is not helping because I will come here, and now I will force an exchange of the queens, and after that I am secure, right? So that is the idea of black behind this. He's saying that if you I can come to g5 and I can threaten again on g2 and probably force some kind of an exchange, right? Rook takes f6, queen e4, threatening g2, right? And queen g4 is also, white cannot play queen g4 check, right? Which is a natural move that white will want to move to get his queen into the attack. So queen first defends it, right? And now idea is queen g5, right? Queen g5, and then It is also from g5 also it is defending the g2 pawn, right? Plus attacking the rook. Sorry, attacking the opponent king, right? So king already doesn't want to get into the check position, so he goes here. Bishop takes f7. So rook cannot really capture on f7 because white has got double rooks, right? And the g2 pawn is still defended. So g2 is defended. So black plays rook to c8. Black wants to why rook c8? Because black wants to get rook to c2 and then kick away the queen. And if the queen is gone from here, then obviously g2 will be made, right? So black is also trying to counter attack. Okay, not just simply defend. Black has an idea of his bishop, queen, and now the rook coming to c2. So white brings back his rook to defend. Okay, so because white knows that rook is going to come to c2. So, but at this point of time, black doesn't. Now he cannot come to c2. Right now he cannot come to c2 because there is a double attack. So he instead attacks the queen. Now queen to g5. So queen to g5. So it is still a balanced thing. I mean, still there are threats and counter threats on both sides. But queen f6 is a very big threat, right? Queen f6 is a checkmate threat now. So you have to defend against it. So black brings up the rook to cover the f6. Okay. Now there is a now there is a threat because the rooks are now not connected. Black's rooks are now no longer connected. Okay. So white finds a brilliant tactic here. Discovered attack. Bishop to d5. Okay, completely blows the position, and now it is a forced mate.
Wait, rook takes f2, rook takes f.
Rook takes f2, queen g8 checkmate.
Oh,
Bishop takes d5, rook takes f8 checkmate. I mean, bishop can go to g8 again, but yeah. So if you take it with this bishop, then this one is a only move, and then this one is a mate. Queen takes thing anyway, same thing. Queen takes also, it is the same thing. Rook takes f8. You can only delay it by one move, right? So bishop to d5 was a brilliant discovery. And what do you do? I mean, queen is also under attack. So it is not that you will simply defend it by this rook going here, let us say. It is. Now that anyway doesn't help. But yeah, anyway, that is also a checkmate. So there is, what is there? I mean,
rook to f6.
Rook to f6. I can as well first pick up the queen.
Okay.
Sorry. There are anything actually you play wins. Actually, here even rook takes f6 also wins. So there is really this, right? So okay. So let us. You want to see any other moves? This is, I think. Anyway, it's there in the study. I will share the link. You can go through it again. Okay, but very interesting way of how conducting the attack. Okay, just like last time, I think I want to continue again. So even if the time is out now, I will restart the Zoom session and let us complete the examples. So let us go to another example now. Classic diagonal. So what is the classic diagonal? We mean classic diagonal means the d3 to h7. Okay, that is the classic diagram. So let us go to a starting point where somewhere here. This is a classic from Fisher actually. So I think we should go to little bit here. Yeah. So again, white is attacking on the castle king. Black is holding on for now, right now. But again, it's a cutting edge position. So white continues the attack on the f7, and yeah, not only f7, but the idea. Can you see currently there is a bishop on d3, but blocked by his own pawn. But if there is some way that the pawn can move, white's pawn, then the bishop and the queen will completely deliver a checkmate on h7, right? So queen to h5 was a double thing. It was attacking f7 also, and there is an indirect attack on h7. Okay, so black defends this and kind of readies to play f5 or f6, and then hoping to exchange the queens. That is the idea why black defends this way. There was other way also we could have defended, but black defends this way. And now white goes ahead. Why to exchange it? No other idea apart from allowing the pawn on e4 to move up. That is the main idea. Okay, that is why white exchanges this. And now only thing is that you have to be careful. Okay, so if you simply play e5 right now, then black is completely okay by playing f5. Okay, f5 is a very key move, blocking this bishop. Okay, blocking this bishop at the same time attacking the queen. I mean exchanging the queens. Yeah, go ahead. You're saying something.
Nothing, sir. I forgot about the queens gonna exchange.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, because the queen, that is what I mean. Black wants to reduce the attack by exchanging the queens. So this is what would have been possible. So white does not finds a brilliant way to prevent it, and even at the cost of a big sacrifice. So what he plays, rook to f6. He's simply taking the thing. Okay. Now, okay, he's inviting black to take it. Yeah, take my rook. But after that, e5, and then there is the mate is forced. There is absolutely no defense against this mate. So if you take the rook, then try. There is absolutely no way to defend the mate. The only thing that would have come and defended the mate was that f pawn coming to f5, and the white sacrifices a whole rook just to prevent that pawn from moving forward. Okay, but again, obviously that is not. I mean, he has other things are ready. That is why he can. You and me cannot sacrifice something like this. And yeah, I mean, here Fisher has thought through and he has got everything ready. And now, so that is why bishop takes f6 is immediately instant loss. So king to g8, because no, what happened here? Yeah, king to, where was the king here? Okay, king was on h8. Okay, so he brought the king to g8, and so then again e5 does come, but black wants to get his h6 now. Okay, h6 in. See, that is why he played g8. Otherwise, rook takes h6, bishop takes h6, queen takes h6 would have been a checkmate. So he just wanted to prevent that. So black played king to g8. Okay, but white now simply plays knight to e2. Okay, and now again same thing basically. Bishop is still not able to take the rook, because if bishop takes rook, then queen takes h6. So and now this knight is also coming to the attack, and it is a completely, what do you call, So once this black knight moves, then rook can also come and take on h6. This knight is further joining the attack. So it's a I mean, again, for us we might still play through, but at a master level, it is this rook is still not touchable, untouchable it is, and now it is going to be the winning attack is just coming. So at this point of time, black did resign. Okay, so we are at the end of the first this one. So I will end the class and again restart it. So just join it within a minute. Okay, so